Hi, Alyssa. Thank you again for joining us. We are celebrating Native American Heritage History, and we're glad that you said yes to being interviewed to celebrate with you and to get to know you as well. So we'll get started. If you could please share with us how you identify and what this month means to you.
I identify as Afro-Indigenous, so I'm Wampanoag. I'm from the Wampanoag tribe, which is local to here in Massachusetts, and then I'm also Jamaican. And mm, Native American Heritage Month for me, I mean, it's definitely a step in the right direction towards having representation for Native people. But I feel like they should have kind of an audience all the time, not just 1 month out of the year, especially because we're living on native land. Um, and then I'm thinking maybe it should have a different name. Some people say American Indian Heritage Month or Native American Heritage Month, but at the end of the day, America was created by some like Italian guy 200 years ago, but Native people have been here for over 12,000 years. And just saying Indian, I mean, that's a word that was given to us by an oppressor. So the use of that word, I wouldn't use it, but I like the fact that people are at least trying to have some sort of way that they can learn about Native people.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that insight. You just talked about what the month means to you and how it's important to learn. And I totally agree. Like, you're a Native American every day, and it's not just 1 month. But I also appreciate the fact that we get to learn about the culture, about the people, and also celebrate and acknowledge that, as well as also acknowledge the atrocities that has happened regarding the Native American history and culture in the US. So thank you for sharing that. There's no denying that identity impacts one's personal life. I'm curious, how has your identity impacted your life and your academic career?
I would say it impacts me every day. Like a lot of the decisions I make are based on my culture. So for example, it's starting to get cold. So I will take iron supplements because in the past, Native people would hunt seasonally, hunting only larger game in the winter. And doing that, it was really for respect for animals because they're having their offspring in the summer and not in the winter. But the act of doing that, since you're only eating red meat in the winter, you're having a higher iron content, and then the iron makes you warm so then you're not cold in the winter. So basically, like, even though people are making these decisions because they're being guided by nature and because they want to respect women, it's also helping you as an individual to like regulate your body temperature depending on the seasons. Um, and then like, so right now I'm studying interior design. And obviously, I want to design and make things look beautiful, but I also want to base my decisions off of my culture. For example, if people were to cut a tree down, they actually wouldn't cut it down, they'd burn it down. And that's because it's a lot easier, but the act of burning also replenishes the soil and helps the tree to grow back. So a lot of the decisions I make, I would want to make based on my culture out of convenience and respect, but also because it creates a mutualistic relationship between people and the earth.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
How has your racial and cultural identity encouraged and empowered you in your line of work, in your academic career?
Um,
Maybe look into that a little bit if you can share more.
Well, I would definitely say it goes along with what I just said. Like a lot of the decisions I make are based off of my culture. But I also feel like it's been empowering because for the past like 7 years, I've been a historical interpreter at Plymouth Patuxent Museum. So it's kind of just been empowering where people are coming in from all around the world wanting to hear a native perspective, which is like that hasn't really happened in the past. So it's nice to see that people are starting to want to hear our side of the story, and then I'm able to give them that side of the story and like kind of break the cycle of intergenerational ignorance.
Thank you. I also am curious in terms of your um, career. You're studying interior design, and you are bringing your culture to what you want the outcome of your academic career to be. What would you say has been your biggest success story today?
So I'm one of the youngest proficient speakers in the Wampanoag language. I'm one of 15 people that can hold a conversation, and I'm also the first person in the world to qualify and pursue a seal of biliteracy in that language.
Wow, that's impressive. And I'm just curious, you say you're one of 15 people. Um, how is there opportunity for younger people like yourself to learn?
Yeah, well, so when I learned, not a lot of people even knew about it in the first place. There is opportunity, but it's such a small tribe that um, it's not really spread around too much. But it's definitely improved, especially recently. Um, since my tribe got land into trust and they have reservation land, they were able to build a school on the reservation, and all of the subjects are taught in the native language. And then on top of that, they have classes outside of the school for adults and elders that are learning at a different pace. But for the language school, for the younger kids, they are teaching academics and basic life skills, and they're going to be the first group of people in over 150 years whose first language is Wampanoag.
Wow, so glad to hear that. Can you describe, or can you tell us some changes you would like to see either currently or your future workplace in order to improve Native American experience or representation?
I would say, well, what I was saying for like one of the first questions, just in general, like acknowledging native existence, especially because we're on native land, but also making decisions based off of how native people would, which is being guided by nature, because it, like I said, it creates a mutualistic relationship between the earth and people. So, for example, if I were in design, like another example is when I said that you burn a tree down instead of cutting it down. Also, to control the fire, even though it's used to control the fire, you're adding clay to the tree so then it doesn't burn everywhere. But even though it's to help to prevent forest fires, it's also adding nutrients to the soil and minerals and oxygen to help fertilize it. So I would like to see in workplaces people just like using native practices in their work to help be more sustainable and environmentally friendly and just more respectful of the environment. Because even though like these decisions are great for the environment, but they're also really at the end of the day, they're done out of convenience as well. So they're helpful for people as well as the environment. I'm trying to think of another example. Even like when it comes to gardening, just like doing crop rotation and not constantly gardening in the same spot all the time, moving around so then the soil can have a break, and using new soil, not only is it going to be easier to garden, but you're not going to be depleting the resources in the area. Um, things like that. Basically, just letting nature guide you on what you're supposed to do, pretty much.
Awesome. Reflecting on your journey so far, who or what has been most helpful in your educational and personal success?
Um, I would definitely say people of high status within my community, such as the medicine person, or chief, or the woman who brought back the language. They're all people that have taught me things that are really important in the culture, such as the language or different things that are useful in the environment, like plants and animals and things. And then also the job that I work at, Plymouth Patuxent, has been extremely helpful because it's taught me like all subjects, like, plants, hunting, fishing, life ways, cooking, everything. And without that experience, I wouldn't be able to carry it with me into my design. I wouldn't know that fire helps is easier than cutting a tree down. Burning it down is easier. And I wouldn't know that it replenishes the soil. And I wouldn't know like a lot of the things that the decisions that people make, I wouldn't know that they're so helpful for the environment if I had not started working there.
Can you discuss the role of mentorship in your educational success? And how have you gone about finding a mentor?
Um, Mentorship is definitely very helpful, just hearing a perspective of someone that's already experienced and that's older than me. I feel like one of the things I learned since growing up is like when I was younger, I thought that like I didn't really need to learn anything else. But when I met people that were older than me, I realized there's a lot that they know and a lot of like good advice that they can give me. Um, it's definitely very eye-opening and like they've kind of opened the box for me as well. Like for example, a lot of the time when people major in interior design, they automatically are like, okay, well, when I graduate, I'm gonna go work at a design firm and then just have my career be that. But having mentors, it kind of lets you realize that that's not the only thing that you could do. You can create your own business and you can do your own thing and not have to have a boss control you. And you can, be your own boss. So they've kind of helped me realize that you don't need a job. You can do it yourself.
Awesome. I'm curious now that you mentioned, thinking about starting your own business. What are your career goals?
I want to do sustainable real estate and I also want to open a restaurant, which is like nothing to do with my major. But yeah, I just want to design homes. I actually am hoping to maybe even get a master's in architecture and build round homes. And because round homes have been built here for over 12,000 years by native people, because the round shape makes the home aerodynamic. It can withstand any storm, even a category 5 storm. And then I want to incorporate like solar energy, geothermal, things like that that are more sustainable and just having like bamboo. Bamboo can grow up to 3 feet a day, which is crazy to me, but like bamboo or like clay, stone, natural materials, just things that are as sustainable as possible. And I want to make homes for people like that, not only because it's a lot better for the earth, but if you're using geothermal energy or solar energy, it also can save a lot of money like on electricity bills and everything in the future. And then for a restaurant, I also want to design it in that same way, but I want to have sustainable, like ethically sourced food as well, but then food that's also native to here. So, like for example, one of my favorite things I make is like cornbread. It's just like fried corn flour with like a strawberry or raspberry filling, like, or crab cakes or something like that. But I want it to be foods that are native to here, and I want the sustainability to be in my design and in like any like if I were to have a restaurant, I want it to be in that restaurant as well.
Well, I can say I knew her when. Good luck on achieving all of that you planned. Um, how has, I think you've mentioned this a few times. So, but if you would like to, just recap for us, how has social capital, that's the connections that you've built, the relationships with people within your uh, personal and professional um, life, how has that influenced your education?
Yeah, I've definitely got a lot more background information compared to what I'm just learning in school. Like I'm definitely fortunate of what I'm able to learn. outside of school because I feel like school is really just focused on your major and like your career, and it doesn't really teach you about like basic things that you see every day. So what I've learned outside of school is even just plants in the wild. If you're walking around, even in the public garden, there's willow trees everywhere. People wouldn't really think anything of that, but for me, when I see a willow tree, I associate it with aspirin. It has a similar ingredient, just like aspirin, and I know it can help with aches and pains. So when I walk around every day, like I look at things differently because I know the background it has and what it can provide, which I'm definitely grateful that I know all that.
So tell us, how have you found support here on the Suffolk campus?
I've definitely made a strong friend group, and all of them have seen the design that I do, and they've also like tried the food that I've made, and they're always like, "Oh, when I have my own house, I'm gonna have you design it for me, and when you open
Oh,
a restaurant,
beautiful.
I'm always gonna eat there, and I'm gonna work there for you," and everything like that. So they're very intrigued by what I do.
That's really nice. I hope that having friends that support you and are cheering for your future success makes you happy. So I have one last question for you. If you could give your younger self advice, what would it be? I know you're still young, so think of your younger self, and what advice would you give you?
Um, I would say to live in the moment and not stress about the future and just deal with it when it comes. Because I would say I definitely, when I was younger, I was thinking about what I'd be doing right now. Like sitting here and getting my degree, I was worried about that like 7 years ago when I shouldn't have been. I should have just been like focused on that. And then the other thing I would say is it's okay to be wrong. And being wrong, if anything, is like is a part of growth and it's a good thing. And I feel like I could, a lot of people could be told that like failing and being wrong is like a part of life, and there's nothing wrong with it.
It really is, and it's one way for you to learn.
Yeah,
Yeah. Alyssa, thank you so, so much for sharing with us. And can you also share with us your, I know you just shared your major. Can you share with us when you're graduating?
I'm graduating this May 2024.
Ooh, congratulations.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Well, thank you again. And I look forward to staying connected. And I've learned so much from you today just by interviewing you. So thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.